Hello everyone. Today's our topic is about is your brand positioned for success in China? So actually this is not really a new topic or it's not really a big topic. A lot of people think that at really early stage, a brand in China or in any other market is not necessary for them to have a positioning. They think that compared with some like the GMV increasement or the sales, the brand positioning is not that important. But actually, the truth is, if we didn't have really successful brand positioning at the early stage, and then we need to do some like analysis about market trends. So if we didn't complete this very successfully or comprehensively, this is not definitely not good for people and for a brand rapid development in the long future. So today we're going to analyze it in depth to see that how we can build our brand and what kind of methods, what kind of ways we can use to build a successful positioning of one brand. So before our presentation, I'm going to introduce me very briefly. So I'm Wendy Chen. I'm from Edelweiss and ChoZan. I have over 3 years experience executing the digital marketing strategies from mainland China. And definitely I'm a native speaker, so I know China trends very well. Actually, my understanding is mainly focused on the biggest trends and also for advertising, for the social commerce. So before our brand positioning, I'm going to tell you what is exactly a brand positioning and why should we do brand positioning. So actually for the brand positioning, I think it refers to the commercial decisions made on a culture-oriented and differences of a specific brand. So it is a process of result of establishing a brand image related to the target market. It definitely, if we go to the China market, if we go to the Europe market, it really varies. And brand positioning is a primary task of brand management and the foundation of brand building. It will definitely affect it in a very long-term relationships. If you want to communicate with your consumers, if you want to sell a new product, if you want to measure that, whether you are successful or not. So for everything in China, for everything in building a brand, the brand positioning is very, very important. And actually, I have to say, in China recently, just in the past few years, the brand positioning has become more and more important. So it's not like that, oh, I suddenly come up with a product and I suddenly come up with an idea and then I can go to it. It's totally different. We have to target specific audience and we have to target specific scenarios. So in this way, based on what kind of scenarios should our products enter and what kind of audience we should really pay attention to, the brand positioning is totally the base, is totally the foundation. So after we know that, what is brand positioning? Now we should look at why should we do brand positioning. So actually the purpose of positioning is to transform a certain product into a brand to facilitate the correct understanding of potential customers. So successful brand always have this kind of characteristics, which is to link to the functions and also to appeal to the consumers from the emotional steps or from this kind of to show their most attractive competitive advantages. So here is the way and here is the step that how we can build our brand positioning. So here are the 4 periods for reference. So we can separate it to see about it. So for the first stage is about product positioning. So this is always our first step to use this kind of product feature to position the brand from the product point of view and use the advantages and characteristics of the product itself to create a brand product image. So this is very interesting because at the very first beginning, we can see there is a case in the red. The brand is called adopt a call, 认养一头牛 in Chinese. So why I use this kind of case is that at the very beginning, its typical and its key word is they have their own farm for the cows. and they have like around 11,000 cores, and it means that if you buy it and you can go to online to adopt a core from their farms. So this has become really interesting, and a lot of people know that they have own farms, and you can adopt a core by purchasing the products, and also you can buy this kind of things to have a strong connection with the brand. So the product at the very first beginning have this kind of natural and strong connection with the consumers. And in the stage two, the competitor positioning is like you have to clarify who is your competitor, and the brand can conduct competitive positioning according to the market competition, and also to narrow the distance with the competitors. I put the example here is about Luckin Coffee. So actually for Luckin Coffee, even if it is really small brand in China, it's domestic brand at the very beginning, but it said its competitor is Starbucks. So in this way, even in this kind of early stage, a lot of consumers will think about that. Oh, there is a new coffee shop, and this coffee shop's competitor is Starbucks. So it is also a good coffee shop, or it is also a famous coffee shop. So in this way, Luckin Coffee has did a lot of efforts, and finally it got listed. It has also becomes a really big chain in China, but there is a really small story which is not strongly related to our topic today. But I have to say, this is also very interesting because later, just recently, in the end of 2020, Luckin Coffee has some like law issues for the tax things, so it has not allowed to got listed anymore. But this is, I have to say, with this kind of competitive positioning, it has already did a really good job. For the stage three is a consumer positioning. So we have different stages in our like brand development process. So for stage one, stage two, and stage three. So for stage three, actually the consumer positioning. When the market matures, brand can find different from the competitors and use public relations, integrated marketing, QL, advertising to open their own groups and markets. So this is a really typical case here is about the perfect diary. So actually for perfect diary, at the very beginning, the biggest selling point is that it is cheap, it is more cost effectiveness, and is imitating all the colors and textures of the big brands, the Chanel and Lancome and Estee Lauder, this kind of lipsticks. But later, after it has become mature, it has become really big giants in China, it started to transform from this kind of brand image. They don't want to be some replacement for any brands anymore. So in this way, it has used a lot of this mature spokesperson and very national, very also very international, this kind of images. So it is this kind of transformation, but they did this still on the process, but this is a really good trying, and also they have to improve the packaging and for the texture, for this kind of for elegance. I think this is more new direction for them. And for the last one is for the stage four. Stage four is for the content positioning. It's like we have some special, very special content selling point. And that content marketing can be used to locate. Like so, for example, Xiaoxiandun is a Chinese big giant domestic brand selling bird's nest. Use the C2M models to interact with fans for offline marketing. C2M is customized to manufacturers very directly, very cost effectiveness, and very customized to your requirements. So in this way, it got really popular. So now we can look every step in more detail. So first one is the product characteristics. So for the benefit positioning, for the unique selling point positioning, and also for the packaging positioning. So actually for the benefit positioning, it doesn't mean that we have to give the consumers a very low price strategy. It is core to amplify a certain value of a commodity, and behind the value we can also have some pinpoints of a group of people. So for example, for Nabaijin here, it is health supplements, and at the very beginning a slogan is, if you want to give the presents to your friends or to your relatives, you have to pick us, because in that time the health supplements is not really popular in China. So it's not targeting only about the consumers who are buying for themselves. They're also targeting the people that they want to buy presents for others, for their friends, for their fathers and mothers. So in this way, it has opened a really unique market, and it has become one of the biggest this kind of health supplements giants in China. And the second one is for unique selling point positioning. So it must contain specific this kind of usages, must be unique, must be conductive to promoting sales. So for Dyson, the ear wraps. So there are so many ear wraps in the market. Why this is unique? This is really expensive, but why people are buying it? Why people are chasing it? It is because it is not only represent for the ear wraps, it also represents for this kind of one lifestyles. If you buy Dyson's ear wraps, you are a delicate girl and you are really trendy. So this is really expensive, and everybody looking for this kind of belonging sense. So this is really good to transfer it into the sales. And the last one is for the packaging positioning. The packaging now can be really important for the consumers in China, especially for the young generations. So the Starbucks coffee, Starbucks coffee is really interesting. In that they have separated coffee into the small packages. This is not the coffee that you make water and you taste like Nestle, the instant coffee. It's more higher level, and also it tastes better. So you can also see the different numbers for 6843. It has different colors, different numbers, which represents for different taste and different strengths and different power. So this is also a really good case for the packaging appealing to the young consumers. This kind of colorful, this kind of simple and very convenient packaging is very popular now. And the next one is for the competitive considerations. So we have later positioning, the higher level comparison positioning, and comparative positioning. So for the Jiaduobao, the first one is for the tea. And when we're doing some promotions, just ask him. In China, every 10 this kind of tea, the cold tea with Chinese medicine are sold. 7 cans of them are Jiaduobao. So they have this kind of sales leading positioning for them to promote. So you can see that, oh, I'm the top one, I'm the top two, I'm the really top leaders in this industry. So this can be really effective. This can be really efficient for people to buy it. And second one is for higher level comparison positioning. It means that we have used this case just now. It's like the Luckin Coffee compares themselves to the Starbucks. Although they're not in that level, in one level in that day, but it also can help a lot for Luckin Coffee's brand positioning. And last one is about the comparative positioning. It means that you have to solve some problems your competitors have. So for example, Novum spring water, obviously that, I'm totally natural, I'm not creating water, I'm just to carrying water from the nature to you, to the consumers. And also it has this kind of comparison with what is difference from their water and for the normal water, and what is their advantages. So this kind of comparative positioning always can work for some people. And how to do comparison is that you choose your consumers and you select their pinpoints. So that's why we have to analyze to do the target market analysis. So for this one, we can see first is consumer group positioning. So the positioning directly targets its own consumer groups very specifically, highlighting the conversion of products to service for these consumer groups and highlighting the functions and how it can really values to this group of people. So for the real cocktails, it has featured just the wines, just cocktails for one person. It's like when they have created a series of micro movies to invite some really famous KOLs and celebrities to shoot. Is that why I'm alone, when I stay at home and I want to relax myself, I want to watch a movie, I want to watch a TV series, this is totally a good choice for you. It's not really, it's not like spirit, it's not with really high degree alcohol, but this can really relax yourself and it's also tasty. So it targets this group of people. And for Morphe, Morphe has got really popular, I think, for several months in China in 2020. It's like, it has grabbed the market gap positioning. It means that when you enter this market, but there are really big giants, like a lot of China's domestic brands did a really good job. It's also very cheap, cost effectiveness in China for this kind of blender. But actually, when Morphe enters this market, it is typical promote one product. It's like the blender and the box, blender and the cups. They're just one roll. So if you buy a Morphe, it means that you don't need to use separate operations or you don't need to separate like kind of machines. You just do the blender and then at the same time you can directly bring these machines to your workplaces, to offices, and bring out of homes. So this is really convenient to meet the group of office ladies or workers or for students, this kind of requirements. And last one is for the product category positioning. So it also means that you have to make clearing difference announcement and for this kind of clarification to compare it with other well-known products. So Junkin Forest have done this before. So when they're doing the soda and doing this kind of drinks, how they can stand out from the market. We have Coca-Cola, we have some domestic brands. So in that way, they have to do the announcement that we are no sugar and no fat and no calories. So in this way, it is very healthy, but at the same time, it's also very tasty. And the next one is about the consumer appeal. So for the consumer appealing, first we can see for the grade positioning. It's like we have different levels. We have to say if we're cost effectiveness, if we're cheap, if we're luxury. So we have different this kind of grade. And second is for the cost effectiveness positioning. It is very unique. It's like I think this example can show it very well. It's for Xiaomi. So Xiaomi has created a lot of this kind of home appliances, small home appliances, for earphones, for this earboxes, and also for some suitcases and the electronic toothbrushes. Is always very simple and white appearances, but at the same time, it's also not very expensive compared with some really high level very this kind of luxury brands, but actually it goes really popular in China, and many people loves it. It's very convenient. And the next one is for culture positioning. So for culture positioning, this is very interesting because I use this example is specifically for China market. For other market, is definitely varies. So it has been integrating your localization cultures into the brand. So the Hutu white wine being that in China there is some old sayings and old slangs to say that you don't need to be live in a very clear mindset. Sometimes you have to think it in more like roughly way. You don't need to make everything clear. You don't need to really to torture yourself to think about it all the days. So they use this special culture by the naming of Hutu white wine. And the last one is for the emotional positioning. So for the emotional positioning, this is most typical brands in China is called Jiangxiaobai. It has created a series of bottles. It's also a small brand. It's also a brand of small bottle white wine. It has typical a series of different topics, like for the graduation, like for the workers, and they have different slogans. It's all very interesting, and it's all about emotional appealing. They have fabulous, very perfect copywritings to print on their appearances, to on the packaging. So a lot of young people likes to buy it and to show off it on the social media platforms. So last but not least, we can see how to avoid an unpractical brand positioning. So now we have know all the things about how to do the brand positioning, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 in China. And last one is how to avoid an unpractical brand positioning. Is that direction, base, and standard. So these three aspects are the most important. So positioning is always a promote to target consumers. So in the process of positioning, two questions must be asked repeatedly to yourself. Is it related to the interest of the target consumers? Can the target consumers be personally feeling good about it? And next one is for the base product. Always your product is always your own base. So if you cannot tell a core selling point, there is no way for a brand to succeed in China. So this is True Orange is story point in that for the founders and origins. So the founders is really a legend. At the very beginning, he was really a big leader of a company of China, the biggest cigarettes company in China. But later he has got some tax issues and he goes into the prison. After he get back from the prison, he has created a new brand called True Orange. So this orange now also become really big orange brand. So these two are enough to become feelings and selling points. And last one is for the standard competitors. So in fact, the right thing is to go against your competitors instead of always follow them. You must pay attention to uniqueness. So how your brand can be positioning unique enough compared to the competitors. So now I have completed all the content today, and that's all. Thank you.